What's going on, guys? Today, y'all are rocking with me in the scent bubble, and I am your host for the evening. Today, we are going to be talking about a dear fragrance to me. This is from the house of Fomo. This is Gary's Den Le Parfum. And I believe Fragrantica, or not Fragrantica, I believe either Fragrance Buy or Fragrance Net, one of those companies, they made these. They made the Fomo line. And this fragrance is chasing in the footsteps of Dior Homme Parfum. But we're not going to be talking about the comparisons with that and how well they did. We're just going to evaluate this as a standalone fragrance. But before we do, run that intro and stay with me. Okay, now real quick, I'm going to put Gary's Den in here so I can just pull up a note breakdown. But again, as I said before, this fragrance is chasing in the DNA of Dior Homme's Parfum, which is said to be a more dusty iris version of the iris powdery forward Dior Homme's Intense. And that's the last that I will mention of it. So just so you know, iris forward, lavender forward, and sitting on some woods. Now, I do believe, though, that with Gary's Den, there's a little bit more going on. And so I want to give you guys my initial thoughts and then kind of speak to what might be going on. So right while we're at it, we're going to switch screens to the note breakdown while I put this on a test strip and on my hand. Okay. So I don't really care about the main accords here because I don't really find this to be accurate to my nose in terms of being helpful. So we're just going to ignore that. Again, similar to Dior Homme Intense, lavender forward with that iris dominant with just stuff kind of caked around in there. But what Gary's Den did differently, let me just see the Fragrantica. Let's look at Dior Homme Parfum. I'm just curious to see how they differed. Okay, so this is actually very unique because here, instead of the lavender up top, we have this Tuscan iris, so a varying type of iris, an orange, heart being rose and leather, and then the base being mostly wood and oud and musk. Interesting. Okay, so when you go to Gary's Den, they kind of took the base and went more spicy, warm, sweet. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking into this. So spicy, coriander is a spice, I got to believe, right? Yeah. Labdanum, resins, and balsams. Okay, so in my opinion, again, I don't want to compare this to Dior Homme Intense, but before I even look at this note breakdown, like mentally, if I'm just smelling this, it definitely is similar to Intense in that it's got that powdery, lipsticky iris vibe going. It is iris dominant. There is a bit of lightness in comparison to Intense. Like if Intense was a 10 out of 10 in terms of its intensity, that was a tongue twister. This version, Gary's Den, would probably be more on the 7 to 8 in terms of the intensity. It definitely smells like a lighter iris. And I think the lightness of it is due to a couple of things here. One being the citrus changes the tinge of the iris. It kind of like zests it up and crisps it up. But then the heavy inclusion of amber and spices here. Cardamom, coriander. Is labdanum a spice? It's a resin and balsam. Okay, so it changes the sweetness of it, but these peppery spices going on, the patchouli, yeah, so they're just kind of like spicing it up, earthing it up, sweetening it up, musking it up. And so it's got a little more complexity going on in the background. I'm just curious. I want to put this on my wrist to kind of see the some of the dry down vibes. Not going to spray it too intense because this is a room filler. Yeah, so it's just kind of more like crisp and zesty. I would say Again, Dior Homme Intense being a 10 out of 10 in terms of heaviness and density. This is probably sitting more on the 7. I think projection and longevity is still going to be almost the exact same. Like you might not smell this the day after, but you'll certainly smell it around the clock 24/7. Um, but the spices and the citrus is lightening up this fragrance, but also making it spicy, giving it a little touch of spice. I think on the spice meter, this is probably like 20%. Okay, so it's not just super tiny spice. It's like it's there, but it's not interrupting the iris and lavender. It's just kind of like, the bergamot is like crisping it up, and then the spices are kind of like tinging it and making it, they're duffing out the iris a little bit and making it have this other dimension of like spice. But again, it's not peppery. It's like holiday spicy in a sense. Vetiver, the vetiver and the vanilla and the musk, I'm not really getting too much of. Like I said, I'm certainly getting the patchouli, the cedar, mostly the cedar and the amber, the cardamom, coriander type vibes, sitting in the background, kind of giving a big hug to iris and lavender. But you don't explicitly smell bergamot, vanilla, vetiver, musk, in this fragrance. If I was to say this was a linear fragrance, like closing my eyes to this pyramid, I would just tell you personally, top notes lavender, middle notes iris and cardamom and coriander, and the base is cedar, amber, and patchouli. And I think you would smell all those right on the money and not question it one bit. This fragrance is just excellent. The price was incredible. I think I got it for about 30 to 35 bucks. I think out of the Fomo series, which is a 3 fragrance series where they were inspired by Grand Soir and Elysium, this one being Dior Homme Parfum inspired. This one was a little more of the pricier one. I think Grand Soir, that's not what it's called, but that and the Elysium type fragrance is more in like the $20 to $25 range. But yeah, I think I paid 30, 35 after shipping, but smoking deal. This is an absolute weapon of a fragrance. If you don't have iris dominance in your collection, I don't care whether you get Dior Homme Intense, Dior Homme Parfum, Gary's Den, and I think there's 1 or 2 other Middle Eastern fragrances. This lavender iris powdery lipstick vibe has to go into your DNA. Like, or that DNA has to go into your collection, because you'll be hard pressed to find the level of beauty and complexity that this iris offers in both fragrances. And even in the dupes and in the inspired buys, it's really something special. Just to clarify, I know I brought this up in a prior video, but occasion, I would find myself wearing this in colder weather for sure. Indoors. This could be like romantic. This could be serious occasion. Cold day. Like if you're going on a ski lift or like a cold weather sport or a cold weather type of hangout. This is a snuggly fragrance. This is a fragrance your girl is going to want to snuggle with you and be close to you, or people are just going to be drawn to you. Again, projection and longevity. You will have a massive scent bubble. I wouldn't necessarily call this a beast mode fragrance, but if beast mode's 10 out of 10, I would give it about 8 or 9 out of 10. You definitely get a scent bubble, and you definitely have sillage, and you're going to leave a trail, and you might fill a room just depending on how many sprays you have. But I think the safe amount of sprays for a fragrance like this is like around 6. Once you start going north of 6, you're turning it into a super beast mode fragrance. I think 8 and up is just absolutely domination. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are being smelled from quite a distance and you're leaving the trail. So yeah, you can definitely, this is a long lasting fragrance. So money well spent in terms of all you guys that love your longevity and all that stuff. Couple sprays is going to go a very long way with this fragrance. You would never wear this in super warm weather or even kind of warm weather. This is a cold weather fragrance, serious, romantic, sporty occasions. You're going to be a standout guy with this fragrance. Again, we already went over price. Again, I think there's one other Middle Eastern alternative, but it's not to Dior Homme Parfum. It's to the Intense. So definitely look at that. I think I saw it on Aromatics channel. Sorry, I keep smelling this. This lipsticky iris powdery vibe is like so. It's so unique, man. I just have so much love for this fragrance in terms of how it's enhanced my life. Um, Age. I would not rock this under 25. I think 25 and up on the right occasions is absolutely appropriate, and I think it's ageless past 25. The right scenario, the right individual could absolutely rock this. If you're younger than 25 and you just like this iris note, really be careful and make sure you're rocking it in the right weather and in the right circumstance so you just don't look like an idiot who's trying to go beast mode with a fragrance they don't fully understand. This is definitely like a small kid jumping on a horse and going on a ride. Like, it will be noticeable that you're young and trying this fragrance, and how you rock it and how educated you are in terms of your application is going to dictate whether people put respect on your name and are flattered by how you smell as a young man trying to rock this, or think you're an idiot. Yeah, this fragrance is absolutely incredible, guys. Please pick this up. I got it on Fragrance Buy. Again, $30 price point. Projection and longevity killer. Price killer. DNA killer. It's a great alternative to Dior Homme Parfum. Super affordable if you don't want the actual DNA. As I always encourage people, get the original DNA in a sample so that you can compare for yourself, but so that you can also genuinely see if you don't want to just save the money and get the original version. There are some cases where you have to have the OG over the alternative because you just aren't even going to scratch the surface. That does exist. But if you're not super serious about your collection and what you're going after, you can blind buy this and be absolutely on cloud nine, loving how it serves you. But again, if you love fragrance and you like your collection a lot and you think about it, definitely sample the OG just to get that on your nose, and then just trust my word by telling you that the Gary's Den did well in my book. I would say probably 1-to-1, but I'm going to wait until I get my Dior Homme Parfum in to make the comparison video. Guys, please sound off in the comments. Do you own Gary's Den? How has it served you? What occasions do you wear it? And do you have any questions about this if you don't have it? Sound off in the comments. I always reply in lightning speed. And you can catch me lurking around in other YouTubers' fragrance channels. I'm trying to talk to a lot of the smaller community guys to just kind of build some rapport and join alongside in other people's fragrance journey. So if you got a channel or you're into fragrance as well, certainly let me know. But I appreciate you and your time for rocking with me in the scent bubble. And with that being said, guys, I hope you all have a blessed rest of your week. I'm going to keep cranking these videos out daily. Peace.